Hello everybody, it's Emma. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today, either way. We're gonna just ignore the way that I sound. I have strep and I'm on day 3 of taking my antibiotic. My tonsils are still very swollen and I sound a little icky, but I did my makeup for absolutely no reason, and then I got done and I was like, why do I have this makeup on now? And I was like, I'll film a video. That's the reason that this video is late and has not gone up yet, is because I haven't been able to talk very easily, especially not for long periods of time. We are actually up, this is my ceiling right here. I have this bookshelf that lines a corner of my room, and I love the aesthetic of having my books up here, but it is not the most practical when I need to get them down. If I'm doing something where I'm talking about a lot, like a majority of my books, I do it up here, because if I take too many of them down, they just all fall down, which is not fun. I am going to be talking about every single book that I read in the year of 2022. I'm going to pull up my Goodreads and give you some stats about my reading year last year. My year in books, 2022, I read 41 books. I read 2,866 pages. My shortest book was Sidetracked, one of the books from the Mind F series by S.D. Abbey. It was 98 pages. If I sound like I have a bubble in my throat, that's from the strep. It's so annoying. And then my longest book was After by Anna Todd, and it was 582 pages. My average book length was 313 pages. My most popular book that I read was The Silent Patient, and my least popular book that I read was The Infinity Between Us. My average rating for a book is 4.2 stars. I'm a very high rater. Because my mindset in that is like, why not? My highest rated book that I read is actually Paint It All Red from, I think it's the last book in the Mind F series. It has an average of 4.59 stars. So that's awesome. And I loved it. I gave that whole series a 5-star. We'll talk about that later. My first review of the year was Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. I said, the best book I have ever read, bawled like a baby multiple times. I have no more words. Please read. Period. Such a good book. And then this is just like a little overview of like all the books that I read. And my last review of the year was The Silent Patient. I said more like a 3.75-ish. To my surprise, I guessed the ending, which I've heard has shocked most people. I wish I wouldn't have guessed it, so I could have been more shocked. Let's go ahead and start from the beginning. The first book I read in 2022 was The Chase by Elle Kennedy. It's the first book in the Briar U series. I rated it 2 stars. Not necessarily the best way to start out the year. I really was just, I was kind of bored. It was kind of hard to get through. Okay, I got literally one book in and my camera died. So if the framing's a little different, that's why. But let's continue. I don't really remember what I was talking about with The Chase, but I'm gonna say like what I initially rated it on Goodreads and then what I would rate it now. On Goodreads, I rated it a 2. Now, maybe like a 3. 3.2, 5, I don't know. I don't think it was actually as bad as what I thought it was when I initially read it, but I was just a little disappointed by it, I think. Maybe still 2. I honestly don't know. Like, this was not a standout book of the year, so we're gonna go ahead and move on. Next, I read the infamous The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. Let's see what I rated it. I rated it a 3-star, and I think I would stand by that. I think I would still rate it about a 3-star. I didn't really like this book until about halfway through, and then the second half of the book was pretty good. But it did take me about half the book to get into it, and I hate when books are like that. Like, I don't want to read a whole 150 pages and not be into the book yet, you know? No one wants to do that, so I would probably still rate it about a 3. Next one is a good one, and I'm not gonna get it off because it's in my Colleen Hoover stack, but it is Hopeless by Colleen Hoover. It's right here. I rated this book. I don't even have to look at it, but I'm going to just in case. But I know I rated it 5 stars. Yep, rated it 5 stars. Hopeless is one of my favorite Colleen Hoover books. It is so good. It's one of her longer ones, and I finished it in like 3 days, which is not normal for me. So that's a sign that it was really good. If you haven't read Hopeless, please go read it. And I would stand by it still being a 5-star. Definitely one of my favorite books of the year. We've got another Coho book. We've got My Baby, Reminders of Him. This was probably my favorite book of the year, which is like a big statement to make, but I loved this book. Like I said, In my review earlier, I bawled like a baby. I definitely rated it 5 stars. I'm rating it like 6 stars. This is one of my 6-star books, one of my all-time favorite books. Check trigger warnings pretty much for all of her books, but this one also, you know? What am I saying? Love this book. Definitely a standout of the year. After that, I read After by Anna Todd. This, like I said earlier, it was my thickest book that I read this year. I rated it a 4 star, and I would probably I'd probably rate it like 3.75, so like not too much lower, but I don't think it was like at the standards of a 4 star really, but you can't do like point something on Goodreads. So IRL, in real life, I would probably rate it like 3.75. It's much different from the movie. I personally am an After stan. I love the After movies. I know some people hate them and hate the whole book series, but I love those movies. Next, I read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. Yeah, Holly Jackson. I rated this book a 4 star, and I'd probably keep it at a 4 star. It was a pretty good YA thriller. I tried to read Good Girl, Bad Blood, and I just could not get into it. That's a goal for this year, is to finish that series, because I really liked this book, so I really want to read the next 2, but I just haven't yet. So then I read The Summer I Turned Pretty, which is the first book in the Summer I Turned Pretty series, and I think I rated it a 5 star. I love this book. That was so dramatic, but I read this book on the beach, and it was the perfect beach read. I would stick with the 5 star now. So like I said, I read that one on the beach on a vacay, a little solo vacay. I brought that one on the trip with me. I also brought Heart Bones by Colleen Hoover on the trip with me, and I think I rated it 4 star. Oh, I rated it a 5 star. Interesting. So if I forgot that I rated it a 5 star, I think I'm gonna bump it down to a 4.5 maybe, because I do remember liking it a lot, but I don't remember it being one of my like all-time fave Colleen Hoover books. I think the ambiance and the vibe and the setting of being on the beach really upped it for me at the time, but now I would probably do like 4.5. After that, I read the next 2 in the Summer I Turned Pretty series, which is It's Not Summer Without You and We'll Always Have Summer. Let's see the ratings. It's Not Summer Without You, I rated a 4 star, and We'll Always Have Summer, I rated a 4 star. The first book was definitely my fave in the series. The second one is a little sad and depressy. It's not as light and fun as the first book. The last one is also not quite as light and fun as the first book, but all of them are pretty good together. I'd probably stick with a 4 star for the last 2 as well. Overall, it's a 5 star series. Then I read Layla by Colleen Hoover. I actually read this on my Kindle app on my phone, but then I love to have the physical copies of all my books, so I ordered it off of Amazon so I could have it in my Coho stack. Definitely not my fave Colleen Hoover, but I rated it a 3 star, which I would probably still stick with the 3 star. It's very different from any of her other books and any other book that I've ever read. Then I read Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. It is a really, really good YA romance book. I rated it a 4 star. And 4 stars. I guess I would put this at a 4 star still. Maybe like 3.75 right under it, because it's not my favorite book I've ever read, but I definitely would still recommend it, and I think a lot of people would like it. Then I read 2 more books in the Hopeless series from Colleen Hoover. I read Losing Hope and Finding Cinderella. Losing Hope, I think I rated it a 5 star. Oh, I rated it a 4 star. If you don't know, Losing Hope is the same book as Hopeless, just from the male's point of view. So the book is about Sky and Dean Holder. Hopeless is told from Sky's POV. Losing Hope is told from Dean's POV. It's not the exact same book. If Sky's POV starts here and ends here, Dean's POV starts here and ends here, if that makes any sense. So it's the same story, but you just get what you didn't get in Hopeless. I hope that made sense. But I really did like it, and I love Dean. I love Holder. And then I read Finding Cinderella, which is like a little novella in between about Sky and Dean's best friends. I rated that a 4 star because I actually love the characters in these little novellas. After that, I read Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating by Christina Lauren. I read this on the plane to San Diego, and it was like the perfect book to pass time, and I finished it. on my trip and I loved it. I think I rated it a 5-star actually. Yeah, I rated this book 5 stars and I would stand by my 5-star rating. I really enjoyed this book. After that, I read The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. I rated it a 4-star and I'll probably stand by that. After that, I read Family of Liars by E. Lockhart. This was what I would consider a 6-star of the year, and I would stick with my 5/6-star rating. I love this book. I need a drink of water. Next, I read Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. I rated it a 5-star and I would stick with my 5-star rating. It definitely gives 11 Other Words vibes. Like, I really liked this book and I would stand by my 5-star rating. I think you should go rate it. I just got a whiff of cologne and I'm confused as to where it's coming from because I'm not wearing any cologne. I don't think that book had cologne on it, but I just got a whiff of it. Oh, I know where it came from. My mahogany balsam candle must have just whiffed up into the air because that's what I smelled. I skipped one. Did I do that subconsciously on purpose because I didn't love the book? Probably. I don't know. After The Summer of Broken Rules, I actually read Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I think on Goodreads I rated it a 4. Yeah, that's a lie. That's a big fat lie, isn't it? It is, Emma. You were scared. I was scared to rate it lower than a 4 because it's Emily Henry and she's got a scary cult following behind her. I love Emily Henry, don't get me wrong, but this was not my favorite book by her. I'm also the type of person whose favorite book by Emily Henry is People We Meet on Vacation, so that kind of says a lot about the type of reader I am. But yeah, I did not love this. It took me a while to get through it, if I'm being honest. I didn't love the main character, Nora. I loved Charlie Lastra, just like everybody else did. But this was just not my favorite book. I would probably rate it like a 3.5 to be safe. I don't know, yeah, I didn't love it. Sorry, Emily Henry. Then we discovered Taylor Jenkins Reid, thank God. I read One True Loves. I'm pretty sure I rated it 5 stars. Yep, I would stand by the 5-star rating for this book because I love it. We're back and better than ever. Once again, if the framing is different, my card ran out of storage, so ignore it. One True Loves, still a 5-star, 6-star. Please go read. Then we read another 6-star of the year. This is one of my favorite books of all time, Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. It's basically like reading reality television. That's what this feels like. This is chef's kiss. Please do yourself a favor and go read this. After that, I read It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. This was my first Tessa Bailey book. And with that, I'm gonna say, don't let this cute cartoon cover fool you. This book is like spicy. And you're sitting there reading it. I was reading it at the airport, la-di-da-di-da. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, I look at the people next to me. If only you knew. If only you knew. I rated this a 4-star. I would still rate it a 4-star. I actually really enjoyed Tessa Bailey's writing. Then I read Finding Perfect. This tiny teensy little novella by Colleen Hoover. It's the last book in the Hopeless series. It is really, really good. I rated it a 4-star and I would stick with the 4-star. Honestly, probably bump it up to like a 4.5. After that, I read Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey. This is the second book to It Happened One Summer. I also rated this one a 4-star. I think I remember liking this one a little bit more than that one. So this one would probably be like a 4.25. And once again, I'd be sitting there reading it like, if only you guys knew what I was reading right now. Then I read The Infinity Between Us by N.S. Perkins. I rated it a 4-star, and that's not accurate, babes. It's not. I would bump it to like a 3. I didn't love it. I remember being disappointed by this book. Then I read After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Let's see, what did I rate it? I rated it a 5-star. I literally think most Taylor Jenkins Reid books will be like a 4 or 5-star. I stand by the 5 stars. Next, I read the Mind F series by S.T. Abbey. This is also a fave. This is probably my favorite series I've ever finished. 6 stars for the series overall. The Risk is the first one. I rated it a 5-star. Sidetracked, I rated it a 3-star. Scarlet Angel, I rated a 4-star. All the Lies, I rated a 4-star. Paint It All Red, I rated a 5-star. After that, I read Confess by Colleen Hoover. I rated it a 4-star. I would probably stick with a 4-star. Then I read The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I rated it a 4-star, and I would probably bump it up to like a 4.5. I missed a book somewhere in here. I know I did. Yeah, there's a book missing, babes. There's a book missing. I'm confused. No, I'm really confused. Sometime in the year, I read The Fine Print by Lauren Asher, which is the first book in the Dreamland Billionaire series. I rated this a 4-star, and I would stick with a 4-star. I really, really liked it. I did not read It Starts With Us twice. I read it once, and it's not in my wrap-up either. I'm confused. I'm big confused. Another book that's not in my 2022 reading challenge for some reason is It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover, which is right here. I'm confused as to why it's not on my reading challenge. I rated it a 4-star. If I'm being honest, we're gonna bump it down. I love you, Colleen Hoover. It Ends With Us is one of my favorite books. It Starts With Us is what we asked for. It's what we asked for. I'm gonna bump it down to like a 3.75 because it's not like so much lower, so much worse than a 4-star, but it's just like not one of my books that I love. But I did enjoy it. So that's 2 more books. So I technically read 44. Anyways, next I read Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I rated it a 3-star, and I would probably rate it like a 3.5 maybe, like just a little bit above a 3-star. It was a good premise for a book. Then I read Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. This book is so loved by so many people. I rated it a 4-star, and I'm probably actually gonna say that it's like a 3.75. I did not love it like other people did. I thought it was a little odd. The main girl character talked a lot, Bree, I think is her name. Bree talked a lot about how Archer kind of reminds her of like a young kid that's like not developed as much or as maturely as a person his age would actually be, but then she falls in love with him. So kind of creepy to me. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm looking at it in a weird way because they are the same age, but she just talks about him like he's a child. And then she's like, but I want him. So, kind of made me feel weird. Next, I read The Hawthorne Legacy by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the second book in the Inheritance Games series. I rated this one a 5-star, and I would stick with the 5-star. There was just more going on in this book because the first book, you're like getting introduced to all the characters and the plot and what's going on. And then this is just a continuation of that, and more happens. It's just like more action-packed. So I really, really liked this, and I was so excited to read the last book. Then I read Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. I rated this a 5-star as well, and I would stick with a 5-star. This is probably my favorite thriller book I've ever read. It is really good. It kind of gives The Haunting of Hill House vibes, and that's one of my favorite shows. I love that show. And it kind of gives those vibes. I definitely want to read more by Riley Sager this year. Then probably my most disappointing read of the year, The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I think that's how you say his name. I rated it a 4-star, and I said more like a 3.75-ish, which is what I would still stand by. I don't know how I would describe this because I was actually pretty bored throughout a lot of it, but I saw the ending coming. I was like, yeah, that's what I thought. I wasn't like a lot of people were. Anyways, if you like thrillers, I would suggest it. A lot of people said they didn't see the ending coming, but I just guessed it somehow. So maybe you won't. I don't know. After that, I read Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. I actually really liked this book. Every chapter kind of ends in a cliffhanger, a little bit of a plot twist at like the end of every chapter, which makes you want to keep reading. The plot twist definitely was like, whoa, what is going on? I did not expect it at all. Probably like a 4.25. Then we started the Addicted series by Krista and Becca Ritchie. First we have Addicted to You. I rated this a 4-star. Yeah, a 4-star, and I would stick by that. A lot of people said that this book's kind of boring and you just have to get through it to like start the series. I would not say that it's boring. It was actually very interesting and a crazy read, and I love Lillian Lowe so much. So I would stand by 4-star. Then I read Ricochet. This one is a little bit smaller. There's not a whole lot that goes on. It's just kind of like adding to the story, which is what books do, duh. But it's just not like super action-packed, I guess. But I rated it a 3, and I would probably stick with a 3. It was really good, but I feel like it's just kind of like you have to read it to get through to the next book, if you know what I mean. It's kind of just like a place filler. It's not like super amazing, but there is some stuff in here that you need to know to like go on to the other books. The last book that I started in 2022 but finished in 2023 is Tell Me Lies by Carola Leverin. I did watch the TV series before I read the book. I love the TV series. I've watched it like 3 times at this point. It's so good. I personally like it more than the book. I think I rated this a 3 star.